So in today's lab session for lab 7, this is what we are going to do. So we are going to extend on whatever we did in our last lab session. So in our last lab session we used the plot command and we talked about how to uh, plot multiple plots on the same figure. Okay? So we looked at that. Here we are going to talk some more about the plot command, like how can you change some characteristics. If you want to add a title to the plot, if you want to label the x-axis and the y-axis, how can you do that? And then you can also change some properties of the plot. So we look at that. Okay? We look at one way of doing it. Again, there are multiple ways of doing it. For example, if you want to change the color of the plot, or if you want to change the line style of the plot, the way the line plot is drawn, okay, or if you want to change the thickness of the line, or if you want to change the way the data points on that plot are shown. So how can you do all that? So we'll first look at that, and the second thing is we'll learn about another command, that is the subplot command. In a subplot command, you can plot multiple plots on the same figure. Okay, so we'll learn about that as well. So this is for lab 7. So it is easy. There is nothing like new. Usually, like you can learn about all these things on your own. If you look up the documentation of these functions online, it is available online, and it is available on the documentation for Matlab. So you can Google it. You can Google, say, plot Matlab. You can just enter the keyword for searching as plot and Matlab, and you will be taken to the documentation page for Matlab plot function, and that documentation is provided by the MathWorks organization. So it is very extensive, and you can refer to it. Okay? So let's look at it. So we'll create. We can use these commands from the command window, or we can create our own script file as well. So let us create a script file and let us save it first. So this is, say, lab 7, and here we are talking about data visualization. Okay. Okay, so we are going to start with an example. The example would be we will generate some values for angle, and then I'll show you like how can you vary the different characteristics or properties of the plot, okay, the figure that you see. So first of all, let us generate the values for angle. So angle is going to be a vector. Let us use the linspace command. Okay. So in the linspace command, you specify the lower limit, the upper limit, and the number of data points that you want between the lower limit and the upper limit. Okay. So it will generate you a vector. Say we want to plot one cycle of sine or cosine. So we want to start from minus pi, we want to go up until pi, and we want 20 points between these two uh, limits. Okay, so minus pi और pi के बीच हमें 20 points हमारे पास होंगे. ठीक है, वैसे we can have infinite number of points. ठीक है, we looked at the effect of reducing the number of points या इनको बढ़ाने के effect को last time हमने देखा था. If you want a high resolution plot which is continuous, because this is a line plot, हर दो पॉइंट्स को एक स्ट्रेट लाइन के जरिए जोड़ा जाता है. अगर वो पॉइंट्स की तादाद कम हो तो आपको जो प्लॉट है वो ज़रा डिसकंटिन्यूस नज़र आता है, लेकिन अगर पॉइंट्स की तादाद आप बढ़ा दें तो द प्लॉट लुक्स मोर कंटिन्यूस. वी हैव लुक्ड एट इट इन द प्रीवियस सेशन. ठीक है, so these are the values of angle. ठीक है, let us calculate the sine values. The sine of, say, sine theta, let us call it as sine theta, and let us call this as theta. Okay, theta and sine theta. Okay. How do you calculate the sine theta? You just call the sine function और उसको ये theta vector आप provide कर दें. So theta is already in radians. The sine function, the built-in MATLAB or Octave sine function, it calculates the sine of angles in radians. If you have angle in degrees, So you can use the sin d function. Okay, so you can use the sin d function. So we have the theta, value of theta and the value of sin theta, and now we want to plot it. Okay, so you know how to plot it. So you simply call the plot command and you provide the values for the x-axis or the vector for the x-axis and the vector for the y-axis. Okay, so this is what we have used so far. This is from last lab. Okay, in the last lab session, this is what we did. So this is one cycle. Like if you can see, we have few points, so that's why there is kind of jitter. Okay, there is a discontinuity. If we further reduce the number of points, so you'll feel it more. If we increase the points, then you will see it as a continuous plot. Actually, now say for example, you want to label this plot. ये किस चीज़ का plot है? Right now it is apparent that this is the plot of a sine wave, but at times it may not be clear. So you might be plotting some specific function. So you might want to give a title to the plot. ठीक है, a title to this particular plot. So if you want to add a title to the plot, so you can use the title command. You can say title, and then within single quotes you can specify the title for the plot. Okay, so this is one cycle of a sine wave. Okay, this is the title for this plot. And then we want to label the x-axis. If you want to label the x-axis, you can use the x label command. You can say x label. On the x-axis we have angle in radians. Okay, on the x-axis we have angle in radius, and on the y-axis we have sine of that angle. Okay, sine of angle. So this way you can label your plot. So it will have a title which will basically tell the user what is this plot all about, and it will have label on the x-axis and on the y-axis, so the user knows like what is on the x-axis and what is on the y-axis. If you run this script file, so now you have, acha, we selected the option of run selection. So whatever you selected, only that part was executed. Okay, we selected this option, so that's why we didn't see the plot, the actual plot. We only saw a figure with the title, x label and y label, and nothing else. So let us run the entire script file. So now you can see like you have this figure is properly titled. It has a title, one cycle of a sine wave. The x-axis is labeled properly, angle in radians, and on the y-axis we have whatever is the function actually on the y-axis. So we have somehow specified that. Okay, this is fine. Now if like these are basically properties of the axis on the figure. Okay, so if you run this, this script file, so this thing that you see, it is a figure. See, it is named as figure 1. This whole thing is a figure, and right now it has just one axis, one x and y axis, one pair of axes. So right now it has just one pair of axes. So this set of commands, it applies to the axis. It applies to the axis. Okay. Now, if for example, if you want to change the properties of this plot, right now its color is blue. Okay. So if you want to change the color, if you want to change the thickness of this line, if you want to show the points, like this is the plot of a sine curve, but we are plotting or creating this curve using only 20 points. Okay, so we have only 20 values of the angle and 20 values of the sine of those angles. So if you want to show which 20 points are we basically plotting, और फिर हम उनको combine करें, so you can do that. ठीक है? So how can you do that? So I'll show you one way of doing it. ठीक है? And this way of doing it is this is called, यानी आपके पास you have the plot function or plot command, and for the plot command you can specify different values for different properties. You can specify values for different properties. How can you do that? So first of all, you will mention कि किस property के लिए आप value specify कर रहे हैं. So पहले property का नाम, फिर उसकी value, फिर property का नाम, फिर उसकी value, फिर property का नाम, फिर उसकी value. So for example, I have mentioned a few properties. There is extensive list of these properties. वो आप documentation में you can look it up. We do not have enough time कि हम इस एक function को in its entirety cover कर सकें. ठीक है? This is such an extensive function. लेकिन हम सिंपल एक छोटी सी एग्जांपल के जरिए आप we'll demonstrate कि how can you modify certain properties of this plot. For example, if you want to change the color, the line style, so how can you do that? ठीक है? So let us do that. So say for example we want to change the color property of the plot. ये जो line plot draw हो रही है इसकी color इसका color इस वक्त है blue. Say we want to change it to red. How can you do that? So you need to specify कि मैं color को change करना चाह रहा हूँ. I want to modify the color property. So first here you need to specify कि I want to change the color property. ठीक है? अच्छा. So you specify the property color, then comma value for that property. ठीक है? Color की value फिर आप specify करते हैं. How can you specify the value of the color? Now you can do it in different ways. You can provide name for the color. For example, red, blue, black, white, cyan, magenta. ठीक है? White. So you have all these values. ठीक है? The lamp takes a little bit of time. It's okay. No, it's on. सही है, सही है. It's खैर नहीं नहीं. Let it take its time. Otherwise, the lamp life reduces. ठीक है? अच्छा, so we were talking about you specify the property and then you specify a value for that property. So you can specify कि I want to change the color property. So then you'll mention कि मैं color property को change करना चाह रहा हूँ. So first you specify color within single quotes and then comma value for that color. So value for color can be specified in different ways. One is you specify the name. ठीक है ना? Red, blue, black, white. So you can specify the full name like RED, red, or BLUE, blue, or BLACK, black, or you can specify a shortcut for the name. So simple R stands for red, simple G stands for green, then blue. Okay? So this is the property color, and these are the ways through which you can specify values for this property. So let us do that. So this is the property color. अच्छा, इसके लिए you can specify value, या तो full नाम लिखें कि it is red, ठीक है? या आप simple R mention कर सकते हैं, ठीक है? अच्छा, so this is one property. We have specified कि we want to change the color property. अच्छा, you can specify, you can change other properties as well, and then you can specify property का नाम और फिर उसकी value. For example, say for example we want to change the line style. अभी तो line straight line है ना? So अगर हम चाहते हैं कि नहीं ये ज़रा सी मुख्तलिफ हो, say for example we want to change line style. So right now by default the line style is this. The default line style is this, ये single dash. तो बिल्कुल वो straight आपको नज़र आ रहा है. अगर आप चाहते हैं कि नहीं उसमें थोड़ा सा मुझे dash dot dash dot dash dot इस तरह से नज़र आए, तो you can do that as well. अच्छा, इसको जरा रन कर लेते हैं, then it will be clear to you. Now this is the same plot, लेकिन अब आप देखें तो अब इसका जो कलर है, the color is red, ठीक है, and the style is dash dot dash dot dash dot, ठीक है, we have changed the style. Now if you want to change its thickness, आप चाहते हैं कि ये लाइन ज़रा मोटी नज़र आए, ठीक है, right now इसकी thickness इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं है. So if you want to take print out, और वो आप चाहते हैं कि that print out is visible, so you can change the thickness as well, ठीक है. तो वो है line width. That property is line width, ठीक है. अच्छा, so by default उसके लिए जो size है that is 0.5. So if you make it 1 it will be double, if you make it 2 तो काफ़ी reasonably sized हो जाएगा, ठीक है. So now you can see the line as a very thick line, ठीक है. अच्छा, still it is just a line, it is a straight line plot. हमें वो points नज़र नहीं आ रहे जिन points के लिए हमने angle की sin की values print की हैं, ठीक है. If you want to view those points, तो फिर आप जो है you can change a property called the marker property, ठीक है. You can change a property called the marker property. By default there are no markers. Marker की जो default value है that is none. But if you want to change it, so you can change it. You can say marker. Marker is basically how you mark the data point जो कि actual data point आपके पास है जिसको आप plot कर रहे हैं. बाकी तो आपने उन data points को join किया with straight lines. So you can change the marker. You can specify the marker. By default it is none. You can specify asterisk. ठीक है. तो जो जो data point है वहाँ पे ये asterisk नजर आएगा. ठीक है. So we specified the marker to be asterisk. अच्छा, ये एस्टेरिक की तरह तो नज़र नहीं आ रहा. हाँ, मे बी वो डॉट की वजह से ये थोड़ा सा बहुत नज़र आ रहा है. यू कैन मेक इट अ प्लस साइन, ठीक है. मार्कर कैन बी अ प्लस साइन एज वेल, ठीक है. तो अब नाउ यू कैन डिफरेंशिएट कि जी हाँ वो प्लस है. जी जी. अगर इफ़ वी चेंज द लाइन स्टाइल टू दिस से फॉर एग्जांपल, ठीक है, then maybe we would be able to view asterisk as well. Asterisk भी शायद हमें clearly नज़र आए. अच्छा, somehow asterisk we cannot see it the way asterisk looks. अच्छा, we can have another marker, ठीक है. प्लस हो गया, asterisk हो गया. You can have these circles, round circles, ठीक है. So those would be, ठीक है. So they appear as round circles. Now these are the actual data points. ये एंगल और साइन की वैल्यू आप प्रिंट कर रहे हैं. फिर हर दो पॉइंट्स को यू आर जॉइनिंग दोज पॉइंट्स बाय अ स्ट्रेट लाइन. ओके, दैट इज हाउ वी आर क्रिएट. दिस इज कॉल्ड अ लाइन प्लॉट. दिस इज प्रिसाइसली द रीजन इट इज कॉल्ड अ लाइन प्लॉट. लाइन प्लॉट इसको क्यों कहते हैं? क्योंकि आप जो है दो डेटा पॉइंट्स को यू आर जॉइनिंग दोज डेटा पॉइंट्स बाय स्ट्रेट लाइन. दैट्स व्हाई दीज आर कॉल्ड लाइन प्लॉट्स. So this is how you can specify value. This is how you can modify different properties of these line plots. Okay? So you specify a property and then value for that property. A property and then value for that property. Okay? So name value pairs, we call them as name value pairs. Okay? You provide the name of the property which you want to modify and then you provide value for that property. ठीक है. तो इस तरीके से आप अपने प्लॉट की मुख्तलिफ प्रॉपर्टीज़ को यू कैन चेंज दोज प्रॉपर्टीज़. ठीक है. तो यू कैन चेंज दोज प्रॉपर्टीज़, line width, line style, marker, ठीक है. And there are numerous other properties which we have not covered here. Okay, we do not have the time to cover all those properties. You can look up all the properties in the online documentation available for Matlab. Matlab की जो online documentation है वहाँ पे you can look up all these properties. ठीक है, तो आपको मिल जाएगी ये सारी properties. अच्छा, the next thing that we want to learn or we want to try is use the subplot command. ठीक है, subplot command. Now what does the subplot command do? Now if you look at this particular plot, so here we have one figure and there is one plot on this figure. एक ही function को हम plot कर रहे हैं या एक ही plot है हमारे पास, एक ही axis है. There is only one pair of axes on this figure. You can change that. You can have 4 or 6 or 8 or as many uh, axes on the same figure as you want. ठीक है. So if you want to plot many functions side by side, so you can do that. वो आप कर सकते हैं यहाँ पे, ठीक है, using the subplot command. Subplot command क्या करता है, वो इस फिगर को डिवाइड कर देता है into a grid, number of rows, number of columns, एक टेबल की शक्ल में इसको डिवाइड कर देता है, ठीक है. And then you can access, you can plot a particular graph in a particular location, ठीक है. So how would you do that, ठीक है, वो हम देखते हैं कि वो हम कैसे कर सकते हैं. So in order to do that, like we will create these functions. Say for example, we will have these functions. ये हमारे पास 4 functions हैं, ठीक है. So we'll create vectors and then we'll create these functions and then we'll plot these functions side by side. इनको side by side हम एक ही figure पे plot करेंगे using the subplot command. So that way we'll learn कि ये कैसे काम करता है. अच्छा जी. So say for example, we have theta, ठीक है. You can change its name. You can say this is t, ठीक है, and shift plus return. अच्छा. So हमने theta को we renamed it as t, ठीक है. We renamed theta as t and then we wanted to change, हर जगह पे theta को हम change करना चाहते थे, तो we press the shift plus enter, तो हर जगह पे theta जो है वो t से replace हो गया, ठीक है. So now t sin of t, फिर यहाँ पे t, ये सारी जगह theta जहाँ जहाँ पे था वहाँ पे उसको हमने replace कर दिया with t. जी दूसरे टर्मिनल में कर लें. अच्छा, let us create another script file, ठीक है. So this is lab 7 and we are talking about the subplot command, ठीक है. So first of all, let us generate t. So t starts from, say, t, again let us use the linspace function, ठीक है, to generate t. So we want t from -4 to say +4 and we want how many points, say 20 points in this interval, ठीक है. अच्छा जी. So now we need to create these 4 functions. ये जो 4 functions है ना, so let us call them as y1, y2, y3, y4, ठीक है. So we want to have these 4 functions. अच्छा जी. So y1 क्या है? It is basically quadratic function है. It is a quadratic function, so that is important. So it is t squared plus say 4t minus 5, say for example. This is y1, ठीक है. अच्छा. Now we are using here the exponentiation operator, ठीक है. So we have a vector and we are taking square of that vector, ठीक है. So now if you remember when we were talking about these operators, so we said that at times like you need to use the operator, the element wise version of that particular operator. What do we mean by that? Say, let us clear the command window and let us clear all these variables. So let's say we have t and t is from -4 to +4, ठीक है. Okay, so this is t. बातें नहीं please. And let's say we want to find the square of t, ठीक है. तो वो कैसे हम करते हैं? So you can do it like this, t square, ठीक है. But you have to be careful with the exponentiation operation. Now exponentiation अगर आप चाहते हैं ना कि मेरे पास एक वेक्टर है और उस वेक्टर के हर एलिमेंट का मैं स्क्वायर मालूम करूं, so then you cannot use the exponentiation operator directly. You have to use its element wise form. वो क्या है? So you will say like you will, या ये है, sorry, this is the element wise form of the exponentiation operator. So before the operator you need to provide this dot, ठीक है. इसका क्या मतलब होगा? इसका ये मतलब है कि t के हर एलिमेंट का आप स्क्वायर मालूम करें, ठीक है. So if you do that, so now you will have a vector जिसमें हर एलिमेंट जो है वो बेसिकली t के कोरिस्पॉन्डिंग एलिमेंट का स्क्वायर है, ठीक है. So if you're using exponentiation operator, you have to use it, you have to use the element wise version of this exponentiation operator. ठीक है. So this will result in an error अगर आप इसको इस फॉर्म में यूज करते हैं. But if you use the element wise power, so now it will be fine. Multiplication के लिए, like if you do 4 multiplied by t or if you do 4 dot multiplied by t, they are the same. So you can verify it here in the command window. ठीक है. Multiplication के लिए it doesn't matter that much. So 4 multiplied by t, it is the same as 4 dot multiplied by t. ठीक है. So multiplication does not create problem, but power is special. Similarly addition भी वहाँ पे भी you don't need to specify कि we want to do element wise addition. ठीक है. So this is fine. ये क्या करेगा? This will calculate y1 जो है वो हमारे पास ये quadratic function होगा. ठीक है. y1 would be this quadratic function. अच्छा, what is y2? So y2 here is this cos function. ठीक है. So we want to find out the cos of 4 times t. Cos of 4 times t. So you can do it directly. You can say cos of 4 times t. That is y2. ठीक है. What is y3? So y3 is basically exponentiation. It is e raised to the power minus 12 times t. ठीक है. So in order to be sure, like since I also keep on forgetting it, so this is how exponentiation function works, I guess. So e raised to the power t. ठीक है. So e raised to power minus 4, e raised to power minus 3. t क्या है हमारे पास? This is t. So e raised to power minus 2, then e raised to the power minus 1. अच्छा, this is e raised to the power 1. ठीक है. फिर e का स्क्वायर, फिर e raised to the power 3, 4 and 5 में. ठीक है. 4 तक, सॉरी. अच्छा. This is e raised to the power 0, sorry. This is e raised to the power 0. 1 multiplied by 10 raised to the power 0. ठीक है. इसको कैसे रीड करना है? 1 multiplied by 10 raised to the power 0. ये जो है this is 10 की पावर है. ठीक है. 1 multiplied by 10 raised to the power 0. So 1 multiplied by 10 raised to the power 0. What is 10 raised to the power 0? 1. So 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. So e raised to the power 0 is 1. Anything raised to the power 0 is 1. ठीक है. This is e raised to the power 1. अच्छा, कहने का मकसद क्या था कि इट वर्क्स फाइन. ठीक है. अगर आप एक्सपोनेंशिएशन फंक्शन को यूं कॉल करें फॉर अ वेक्टर, सो इट वर्क्स फाइन. सो y3 इज बेसिकली एक्सपोनेंशिएशन ऑफ minus 12 times t. ठीक है. It is the e raised to the power minus 12 times t. That is what y3 is. And what is y4? It is sine 2 pi t. ठीक है. y4 is sine 2 times pi times t. Yes, any value. For example, क्या value लेना चाहते हैं? 15. Make it 15. ठीक है. अच्छा, so now we have these 4 functions y1, y2, y3, y4, and we want them to be plotted on the same figure. ठीक है. In fact, we have specified कि top left में हमारे पास y1 होना चाहिए, फिर top right में y2, then bottom left में y3, bottom right में y4. So how can you do that? In order to do that, you need to use the subplot command. You need to use the subplot command. ठीक है. अच्छा. So how does the subplot command work? So in the subplot command, you specify the number of rows and columns. पहले आप number of rows and columns बताते हैं. कोई भी figure plot, कोई भी graph plot करने से पहले you need to specify कि ये plot कहाँ पे print होगा, कहाँ पे ये graph plot होगा. ठीक है. So we want this, हमने 4 graphs plot करने. So we want a grid of 2 by 2. हमें 2 बाय 2 का एक ग्रिड चाहिए. ठीक है. या एक टेबल चाहिए जिसमें ये 4 प्लॉट्स आ सके. ठीक है. ऐसा ही है ना. अच्छा जी, तो वो आप कैसे क्रिएट कर सकते हैं? सो यू कैन स्पेसिफाई टू द नंबर ऑफ रोज, द नंबर ऑफ कॉलम्स. सो वी वांट अ ग्रिड विद टू रोज एंड टू कॉलम्स. वी वांट अ ग्रिड विद टू रोज एंड टू कॉलम्स. नाउ उसके बाद फिर आप क्या स्पेसिफाई करते हैं? यू स्पेसिफाई द पोजीशन जिस पे ये जो नेक्स्ट आप ग्राफ प्लॉट करने जा रहे हैं वो जहां पे वो जाएगा. ठीक है. सो पोजीशन नंबर 1 पे वी वांट कि हमारा y1 फंक्शन प्लॉट हो. ठीक है. पोजीशन नंबर 1 पे वी वांट द y1 फंक्शन टू बी प्लॉटेड. तो क्या होगा? सब प्लॉट डज नॉट डू एनी प्लॉटिंग. सब प्लॉट कमांड जो है ना वो किसी कोई प्लॉटिंग नहीं करता. वो सिंपल एक ग्रिड क्रिएट करता है और उस ग्रिड में लोकेशन बताता है जिस लोकेशन पे ये वाला प्लॉट प्लॉट किया जाएगा, जिस लोकेशन पे ये वाला ग्राफ प्लॉट किया जाएगा. ठीक है. तो ये वन लोकेशन, इससे क्या मुराद है? तो लेट मी ऐड अनदर स्लाइड. ये सब प्लॉट कमांड को ज़रा सा बताने के लिए. अच्छा, लेट अस चेंज द लेआउट. सो व्हेन यू से सब प्लॉट 2 बाई 2, ठीक है, सो बेसिकली आप दो रोज और दो कॉलम्स का एक ग्रिड क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. दो रोज और दो कॉलम्स का एक ग्रिड क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. दिस इज द रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस थिंग, सब प्लॉट 2 बाई 2. So you're specifying कि I want a grid with two rows and two columns. So these are two rows, two columns. अब इसमें इसकी पोजीशन क्या है? ठीक है. इसकी पोजीशन, लेट मी इंक्रीज द फॉन्ट साइज. ठीक है. सो इसकी पोजीशन है 1, इसकी पोजीशन है 2, इसकी पोजीशन है 3, इसकी पोजीशन है 4. सो जब आप एक ग्रिड क्रिएट करते हैं तो पोजीशन की जो काउंटिंग है स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट रो, फर्स्ट कॉलम ऑफ फर्स्ट रो. सो दिस इज पोजीशन नंबर 1. फिर सेकंड कॉलम ऑफ फर्स्ट रो पोजीशन नंबर 2. फिर सेकंड रो का पहला कॉलम पोजीशन नंबर 3. सेकंड रो का दूसरा कॉलम पोजीशन नंबर 4. ठीक है. डज इट मेक एनी सेंस टू यू? अच्छा, वी वांट चार, we want four graphs to be on the same figure. ठीक है. how do you do that? you first create a grid, 2 by 2 की एक grid आप create कर लेते हैं. ठीक है. and then you specify कि किस position पे किस plot ने print होना है. तो उस 2 by 2 grid में we have 4 positions. how are those positions numbered? so those positions are numbered row wise. रो नंबर 1 से आप स्टार्ट लेते हैं, फिर रो नंबर 2, और रो नंबर 1 में कॉलम नंबर 1 से आप स्टार्ट लेते हैं. सो दिस इज रो नंबर 1 का कॉलम नंबर 1, 2, 3, 4. ठीक है. सो हियर दिस प्लॉट विल गो टू पोजीशन नंबर 1 व्हिच इज टॉप लेफ्ट. फिर पोजीशन नंबर 2 पे y2 ने जाना है. ठीक है. अच्छा, देन वी नीड टू स्पेसिफाई कि पोजीशन नंबर 2 पे we want y2 to be there. Okay, we want y2 to be there. अच्छा, then we want position number 3 पे, position number 3 पे we want y3, and similarly position number 4 पे we want y4. ठीक है. So चार functions हैं. We are plotting those four functions side by side on the same figure, and we want them to be in a 2 by 2 grid. दो रोज दो कॉलम्स की ग्रिड में हम चाहते हैं कि वो प्रिंट हो. ठीक है. और उस ग्रिड में हमने हर प्लॉट की पोजीशन स्पेसिफाई कर दिए कि किस पोजीशन पे किस प्लॉट ने जाना है. नाउ इफ यू रन दिस कोड, दिस इज व्हाट यू विल सी. ठीक है. अच्छा, so this is the quadratic curve y1, this one here, second जो हमारे पास cos है. अच्छा, but cos looks very discontinuous क्योंकि उसकी फ्रीक्वेंसी ज़्यादा है और नंबर ऑफ डेटा पॉइंट्स बहुत कम. अच्छा, similarly this is the exponential function. Again number of data points कम है और exponential function वो बड़ा quickly decay कर रहा है, -12t है, so it decays very quickly. So if you want to see like there are nice, you want to see something nice, so we can do something. Number 8, let us increase the number of data points. So make them 100. Quiet please. Let us reduce this. ये जो जिस frequency से ये गिर रहा है इसको reduce कर देते हैं. And the rest is I guess fine. ठीक है? Acha, so now you can see we have reasonable plots. So this is y1, okay? This is y2, this is y3, y4, okay? And they are printed in a 2 by 2 grid. Now you can change the layout. You can have all in a single row. Like uh, you can have them printed in a single row. For example, you can say I want 1 row and 4 columns. ठीक है? मुझे 2 by 2 की grid नहीं चाहिए. I want them to be printed in a single row. ठीक है? So you can have them printed like this. So now you'll have all these functions in a single row. ठीक है? So you have all these functions in a single row. You can have them in a single column. So you can try all these variations. Okay? You can try all these variations. So I hope like बातें नहीं please, बातें नहीं. It doesn't look nice if I ask you to keep quiet all the time. Okay? So I hope like you know how to use, you'll know how to use the subplot command. If there is a situation where you want multiple graphs to appear on the same figure, okay, you want to provide some comparison or something like that, so you can do that with the subplot command. And if you want to change the different properties of a plot, so you can do that with like you can change the title, X label, Y label, you can do that. And for any particular plot, so you can change the individual characteristics of that plot. ठीक है? आपने color change करना है, line style change करना है, line width, marker वगैरह, so you can do that. And again, like this is not an exhaustive list of properties and functions that you can do. There's an extensive list of things that you can do with the plot function or any other function in Matlab or Octave. And the best way of learning about that is to follow the documentation. Documentation को खुद वहाँ पे देखें, उसको पढ़ें और समझें. There are examples given on the website. You can try those examples and you can learn about any function and the way that function can be used, the different ways that function can be used. ठीक है? Asha, any question or issue with this particular session? Yes, like you can have red, green, blue के अलावा कोई और color use कर सकते हैं. Definitely you can use. For example, let us use different colors. So let us specify we want its color to be black. ठीक है? So let us make it black. So this its color would be black. बाकियों के भी change कर लेते हैं. So we want this color to be say magenta. जी जी black के लिए the keyword is K then. The shortcut is sorry K. V is for blue. Black के लिए we have K. ठीक है? So it has to be unique. That's why they reserved K for. You can specify the full color, or you can specify the name. Say we have color के लिए. So C cyan. ठीक है? And you can specify any color. Batini, please. So if you remember in our discussion of the theory part of this course, we said that like anything that you want to store on a computer has to be represented in the form of numbers. And we talked about colors, and we said that colors are represented as numbers, three numbers. How much red is there, how much green, how much blue. These are the fundamental colors. So you can specify any color using this array of red, green, and blue. So you can specify how much red do you want, how much blue do you want, how much green do you want. So the maximum value is say 1. So I want all red, no green, no blue. So this would be red. ठीक है? Say for example, इसको भी आप try कर सकते हैं. This would be red. This is another way of specifying color. ठीक है? So that is red. अच्छा. Cyan. This is cyan. This one is, I guess this is cyan. ठीक है? अच्छा. Let us change the layout so that we, this is 2 by 2. That was magenta. ठीक है? अच्छा. Let us change the line width as well. Patani, please. So line width, let us make line width 2 so that the colors are clearly visible. Okay, so now you can see the colors. Now this is red. Like you can play around with this value. Say if we make add some green and blue as well. Okay, so now you will have a different color. So it is this color. Okay. So change, you can change the values of red, green, and blue, and you can get all possible colors. ठीक है, तमाम जितने भी possible colors है ना. For example, I guess this, I'm not sure about this display, but say this computer can show 16 million colors. ठीक है, so you can have all those 16 million colors. ठीक, understand? Yes, sir. So I hope like you can use, you should be able, the point of this lab is, and the point of this course is, वो दरवाज़ा बंद कर दो, बिल्कुल बंद कर दो. Now computing, introduction to computing, like it is going to help you in other courses. Okay? So you should be able, you should know how to program, how to write small programs, how to create, how to plot data. You'll have data, raw data, you'll be working on that data and generating new information or new results. So you should be able to communicate those results, and graphs or plots, these are one powerful way of communicating those results. Okay? So this is the purpose. Like if you want to show comparison of different functions or different behaviors या different जो भी interventions हैं, so you can use the subplot command to show कि अगर जी इस factor को हम change करते हैं, यानी आप फर्ज किया कोई चीज़ बना रहे हैं, उसके लिए अगर हम temperature is this, so what would be the behavior if the temperature is this, what would be the behavior अगर ये है. तो यू कैन हैव मल्टीपल प्लॉट्स जिसमें आप मुख्तलिफ फैक्टर्स को वेरी करके यू कैन सी कि आपके एंड रिजल्ट पे क्या उसका असर होता है. ठीक है, इज दिस क्लियर? एनी क्वेश्चंस इन दिस पर्टिकुलर सेशन? नो क्वेश्चंस? अगेन you should be able to learn things on your own. ठीक है, ये जो चीज़ें हैं ना, this information is available, and in fact more extensive information is available, and you can use all that information. And there are so many ways of plotting data in Matlab. We cannot cover all those ways here. Like you can create 3D plots और उसमें भी मुख्तलिफ किस्म के सो डेटा को विजुलाइज करने के बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग और पावरफुल टेक्निक्स हैं जो कि अवेलेबल हैं ऑन मैटलैब. The purpose of this lab is to introduce, to open the door for you, and then you can enter. ये open the door was a metaphor, ठीक है, so इसका मुहावरतन मैंने इस्तेमाल किया. Then you can enter that area and world and you can learn things for your own. फिर उसमें आपकी अपनी मेहनत है, जो जितनी मेहनत करेगा उतना आगे जाएगा, ठीक है. If you do not have any questions, so we'll move on to the next session, ठीक है. Okay, so let us move on to the next one. जी, questions नहीं है? Okay.